A new installment of the No Kings protest happened this weekend. Because I guess Trump really has just been very king-like as of late, especially with all the peace deals and the ending of wars, because kings love ending wars, right? This truly just, it's so entertaining to me, so I wanted to talk about it. There were some towns where the protests were, a few people on a street corner that looked like this. This is just one of my favorites. I believe it says no dictator. Yep, so there was that. I don't know if someone's inside of it, or I also saw later him getting arrested in the costume, so, that happened. Or at some of the peaceful, loving, tolerant protests, there were videos like this. And this is just a kid stabbing Pinata Trump. Fully masked. It's teaching so much love and tolerance and acceptance. I mean, I have never, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I was too young, maybe I missed it, but in presidencies past, ones that I didn't support or like Obama, I don't remember seeing this behavior from us on the right. I truly don't. Am I wrong? No one remembers that. So this is, I would say, abnormal, not normal, and not good to be teaching a generation of kids, yes, violence is the answer. And you may say, Reagan, it's just a pinata. No, but it speaks to something else. Something that we're seeing happening in culture at large, and that's why this is not good. This was not happening for Obama or for the Clintons. This is new. And not good. This one I thought was just so perfect, though, this little moment. This is a woman, probably a retired woman, just like, what am I going to do with my day? I'm going to go to the No Kings protest. What is she wearing? Make America kind again, okay? And then this is what she's doing. I mean, nothing speaks kindness more than that. Nothing speaks like you must be such a good, loving, tolerant, kind human being by just pulverizing a fake Trump. And then I love it. I wish that we could frame this in the history books, get the shot of the Make America Kind Again with the just bashing of Trump's head. I mean, it's so emblematic of what's happening and what people say they are versus who they actually are. I immediately see those videos. I'm like, do they not see it?
Wow, you are blind.
Now, not all of the protests were just a little line of some people wearing costumes. Others had larger turnouts. Now, some of our reporters from DW even went to the one happening in DC to hear what the masses had to say. They were the ones holding the signs that they wrote themselves. So they were asked, why did you write this? Why do you believe this? And here is what they had to say.
We're out here at the No Kings protest, and we're asking all the important questions.
Such as, if Trump was elected, how exactly is he a king?
Because he is trying to take control of everything. His checks and balances are not working, so he is just trying to completely disregard the Constitution.
Remember that. Completely disregard the Constitution. Okay, that's what some of them are saying.
He's trying to do everyone. I don't know.
Critical thinking, tough. I didn't consider that when I spent all this time making this No Kings thing, talking about the Constitution, talking about democracy, and I come out here chanting and marching. But I have no idea why I'm here. That's what this screams. At least know the cause that you're protesting. I cannot imagine going to, let's say, what kind of cause would a pro-life march. And someone asks me, why are you here? What does it mean to be pro-life? And I couldn't rattle off exactly why I'm there. I mean, I wouldn't be there if I didn't know the cause. You go out of your way to march something that you really believe in. That's why this specifically, it's not just people on the street asking, what do you think about Trump? This is people who went out of their way to protest him, to call him a king, to call him a dictator, whatever. But they don't have anything behind it.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of amendments have been kind of overcome.
A lot of amendments have been overcome. Which ones? And how have they been overcome? That's not even what you'd say, overcome. Oh, gosh. Okay.
In a way that they're not supposed to be.
How? Define. I think they asked him to define.
Yeah, which amendment specifically?
The first one. Yeah, the first one.
The first one. What's that one that? Oh, my gosh. Oh, I love it so much.
Trying to take away our freedom of protesting.
See, guys, I had to do an episode. It's too good. For freedom of protesting. That's the amendment they're overcoming. Freedom of protesting. Girl, you're out in the streets in D.C. minutes from Trump himself. And you're free to protest because you are not in a monarchy. This is not a dictatorship. This is not a king situation. You're allowed to protest him. You are. You're literally showing that right is good and strong. And yet, okay.
I would say that it's because even though he was elected, I agree, due process, he got what he got elected fairly, sure, but he's doing things that make him a king, like he's taking away, civil rights.
Define further, nope.
That's a great question. I don't particularly think he's a king. It's how people are viewing him as.
Actively switching the levers of power in order to subvert elections.
And what does that mean?
Things such as, trouble coming up with words.
Things such as, it reminds me of that, like, Miss America pageant where she was like, and such as.
That I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere, like such as, and
things such as, and what... Again, cracking through the exterior of the initial response, the one line, well, he's overcoming amendments. Okay, define that, please. Specify. And then they get caught in the, such as, and... actually, I haven't quite thought about that. That's the whole point. That's what we're trying to get to. The comments under videos like that are just fantastic, but one person said, freedom of protest is being taken away as she's actively protesting. Yes. I mean, it's a bit of a head scratcher. It really is. But hey, do I support peaceful protests? Sure, they're allowed to protest because, again, they have that right. Even while I disagree, even while I love that people go out there and then ask them, why are you actually protesting? But they're allowed to do it. That's fine. And we're allowed to watch it and then critique it and ask further questions, which is exactly what we're doing. Now, I did see in some places like Portland, it was not peaceful. Which, again, shocker there. I'm not surprised. That's disgusting. But a lot of the other protests looked like this, which I'll just keep highlighting the just hilarious ones because it really speaks to just how seriously they take our democracy and our Constitution. So that's the Constitution, of course. There's a Trump at one point. And then there's a bunch of lice. Not ICE agents, they're lice. And then they look like little bugs. And they're swarming the Constitution. This is like some weird role play acting situation that a bunch of people are watching, just loving it. And I assume most of them are adults. Like these are not kids. These are adults. So again, taking things very seriously. It's just an excuse for them to get out there and like dress up and run around and yell for a couple minutes. I mean, that's what this feels like, unfortunately. You know who I didn't see a lot of at these protests? Good old American-loving patriots wearing cowboy boots. But they should have been, and they should have been wearing Tecvocas, which again, guys, I love. I wear them all the time. And the proof is right here. Now, Tecvocas makes quality Western boots for literally everyone, whether you've been wearing boots your entire life or you're just getting your first pair. And the best part is that they're handcrafted with over 200 steps, so they feel broken in and comfortable from day one, which I can attest to. Now, these are my older pair, but they were just as comfortable the first day I wore them as when I'm wearing them today. So whether you're headed to the office, like me, or you're just out on a date night or meeting up with some friends, Tecvocas are perfect because you can dress them up or dress them down for any occasion. Now, you guys know, because I talk about my Tecvocas all the time, these are my cowhide pair, so I can wear them literally everywhere. I can wear them on the farm, I can wear them hiking, I can wear them out on a date night. I mean, literally, they are so versatile. I love them, and again, so comfortable. But if you are not a boot guy or gal, they also have an amazing selection of apparel, bags, and leather goods that still have that Western flair. Tecvocas really has something for everyone. And right now, you can get 10% off at tecvocas.com/comments when you sign up for emails and texts. That's 10% off at tecovas.com/comments. That's tecvocas.com/comments. See site for details. Now let's get back to the crazy outfits and shenanigans happening at the No Kings protests. Now, one of the best tweets that came from this was from Wall Street Apes, and he said, during the No Kings Day protests, we look at the real kings of America. And then he highlights a bunch of people in Congress who have been there for decades and decades, while Trump has only fully served for 4 years and 9 months. So they're saying Chuck Schumer, 45 years in Congress. 45 years. No one's calling him a king. I mean, he probably doesn't get much done, but regardless. Nancy Pelosi, 42 years in Congress. Elizabeth Warren, 15 years in Congress. Bernie Sanders, 34 years. Dick Durbin, 43 years. That's like 2 of my lifetimes. That's so crazy. Biden served for 36 years prior to becoming president. Mitch McConnell's still cooking, and he's probably been there a couple decades. I mean, we have some people who have been simmering. They've been cooking for years and years and years. But no one talks about that. No, they talk about Trump because he's actually effective. But according to the protesters, no, it's Trump and the Republicans who are not the ones to take our Constitution seriously. Now, again, we're not the ones acting like lice on top of the Constitution, but regardless. Now, those who were able to articulate a bit better what frustrations they had, why they were there, there's a couple main points that kept popping up. So over at NPR, they highlighted some of these, and they said protesters showed up to oppose a wide range of issues, including the administration's immigration tactics and its push for federal and military intervention in Democratic-led states as a way to tackle crime. So that is the key issue that a lot of people were apparently frustrated about. Those, again, that were able to articulate it because they interviewed so many people that were not able to say that, but nonetheless, those who were frustrated over that, I wanted to show a couple things that I think do a good job of actually counteracting a lot of their frustrations and also highlight a level of hypocrisy and, frankly, the tone-deaf nature of some of these protests. Now, with immigration specifically, I want to highlight this video because I saw this a couple weeks ago. It shows how much his immigration policies are actually working, how much they are deterring people from entering the country illegally, which is a good thing for everyone. And I wanted to highlight that with this journalist who went there several years ago and then went back recently to kind of see what was going on.
Trump says he secured the border.
Nobody's coming into our country now. We have the border totally stopped.
Okay, so let's fact check it.
We're in Texas to see what those changes look like on the ground.
We've got the most controlled border we've ever had in the history and in my lifetime in the Border Patrol, and we're going to continue getting there.
In Eagle Pass, Texas, during the Biden administration, more than 2,000 migrants crossed into the U.S. in a single day.
2,000 is crazy.
Under President Trump's policies, officers encounter just 20 migrants a day here.
So the last time I was in Eagle Pass was 2 years ago, almost to the date, and I saw more migrants crossing at a single point in one day than I had in, at that point, 9 years of covering immigration. They were cutting through this barbed wire here and coming across the Rio Grande, sometimes with parents holding their children on their backs as they cross the water.
So dangerous for so many reasons, including for themselves, for the people crossing. So it's better for all if they go through the legal points of entry and not doing this dangerous illegal crossing, which is what they were doing. A lot of Border Patrol were often saving lives or finding bodies because of how dangerous it all was. So again, this is good for both sides.
Now it's a total change.
People aren't taking that risk to come across because the end of catch and release is a deterrent in itself. And then with the level of prosecutions we're doing for smugglers and for those entering the country illegally, you add that added deterrence.
I don't understand why that is not a good thing for everybody. Again, with the levels of drugs, specifically fentanyl, that is coming in and just killing 18 to 44-year-olds in mass in this country, coming through our borders illegally. So this is good. This is good. And again, it's so surprising to me to see people be so mad about that. But you go down to the border and people are celebrating it, obviously, because Border Patrol finally is able to catch their breath.
We've been out here half the day now, haven't seen a soul.
We can't find a single person.
Haven't seen anyone there either. What we're seeing and what we're hearing from the Border Patrol chief and the agents on the ground here is that anyone who crosses now is arrested, prosecuted, and turned back over into Mexico.
Okay, so that was a video for one of those accusations that people are frustrated about. The other one is talking about how Trump is cracking down on major crime in some of the big Democrat-led cities. So I wanted to dive a little bit more into that gripe to highlight how the protesters' complaints don't actually match up with the people on the ground actually experiencing the fruit of the crackdown on crime. Because if I were a betting woman, I would guess that those protesting aren't living in the neighborhoods where they don't feel safe enough to even step outside or walk down the street. I mean, just cut to the shots of all the white middle-aged women out in the streets marching and protesting. They don't live in these cities. They certainly feel safe enough to dress in absurd costumes and then run up and down the street without the fear of random assault or crime. So instead, let's take a moment to listen to some of those who are actually living in the major cities that Trump is currently cracking down crime on. Because though it's almost become normal to just view some of these cities as just dangerous third world-like countries, they don't have to be that way. They shouldn't be that way. Now, one of which is Memphis, a neighbor to us here in Nashville, a couple hours away, but still one of the other big cities in the state. And though it's a historic landmark in a lot of ways, it's a city that I have had zero desire to visit because the crime is so bad. However, thanks to Trump, I may finally want to go. Now, here are a couple videos from people in Memphis talking about the change.
All I want to say is, Trump, you're doing your big thing, man. We got the kids back outside on their bikes. The lawnmower's back going, the dog's back barking. Memphis is looking real good out here, man. You ain't got to worry about no pow, pow, pow. You ain't got to worry about no ducking. You ain't got to worry about them fins doing all that old shit. Hey, it's a good thing, man. I love when the plan come together. Hey, Tecvocas, keep doing what you're doing. Hey, Trump, y'all keep doing what you're doing. National Guard, y'all keep doing what you're doing. Hey.
Straight out of someone's mouth who actually lives there. So the people there are not protesting. They're not mad. They're seeing the crime rates drop dramatically. They're feeling the effects in their neighborhoods. And they're going, actually, you know what? Trump just getting stuff under control. Not a bad thing. Because their own stinking Democrats couldn't do it. That's why it's so ironic to me that it's the Democrats now protesting Trump, even though he's the one actually helping these communities. These communities that are often just looked over. And that video is not the only one that I saw. There were many just like it. Here's another one.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I think it's true time. I was against all, pretty much everything that was coming towards Memphis. I was against his National Guard, all these different police units, all this military, all this shit. I was against all this shit coming to the end, right? Especially when I was the one learning shit about Memphis and how the crime been down 25% than it has in like hella years and shit. Like Memphis been doing good. We just had the most peaceful summer in a long little time. I was against this shit, bro. And then I seen the numbers. These folks then got 16 convicted murderers off the streets in 1 week.
Imagine that. Prior, just multiple convicted murderers just walking the streets. So it's not, they're not just picking off random people in the streets who haven't committed crimes. And even this guy says that once he realized that, he's like, oh, actually, well, if you're getting convicted murderers off the street, thought that's already happening, yeah, good, keep going. They're not just arresting anybody.
I can't wholeheartedly say they're doing a bad thing now that I just seen them numbers, bro. I'm gonna just be honest. And I'm a real Memphis. I love my city. It's kind of hard for me to say they doing us wrong when they really getting convicted fucking murderers. And fellas with guns off the street, bro.
I love the honesty there. He's like, yeah, you know, now that I realized who they're arresting, I can't say anything bad about it. And that totally makes sense. And again, I'd love to know what the protests were like in Memphis. Was it a bunch of upper class, retired people just out there probably not. Because the people here are actually experiencing good fruit from this, which they deserve. They deserve to have safe cities too. Like it's not fair what's been happening in these cities. And I'm glad that Trump's finally like, we're done. Showing them that there can be another way because there can be. Laws can be enforced. Convicted murderers can be arrested. Should be. It's showing just how glaringly horrible these cities are being run. And I hope that Trump continues to do this so that it wakes people up to the reality, hey, maybe I can vote somewhere else. Maybe I can try a different type of candidate because the other ones have not been working for decades. But lastly, I wanted to show you guys this one precious kid from Memphis talking about his city.
My name is Braylon, and I live here in Memphis. I've been noticing not just a slight change, more of a detrimental change in like how peaceful Memphis is ever since the National Guard came. I couldn't play because I was worried that somebody might pull out a gun or something, but now I could do that. And I just wanted to thank the President of the United States for bringing the National Guard.
This is what every kid in America deserves. And not every kid is equally getting. And so Trump is trying to help that. That is what is so infuriating the most to me when I see people from these other cities, from these other states, walking down the street protesting. Like, what about that kid? If you're such an advocate for people like that, then where are you? Why are you protesting this when it's actually helping their cities? It doesn't make any sense. But neither does the fact that they're calling Trump a king when he clearly isn't one. So while the leftists keep celebrating the so-called king, I'll continue celebrating a president who is actively making our country and our cities safer. Thank you so much for watching this episode of The Comment Section. For more content like this, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe to this channel. And for other content, you can follow me on X and my personal Instagram, as well as our Comment Section Instagram. I'll see you guys in the comments.